Hey guys, we're back with the first Nerdiacs podcast of 2014. We're all super excited to come back. Let's start out, introducing the man who lets us use his home, Ryan of Ryan's Comics.
Hey guys, back again. 2014 is looking good.
It's looking great. And the man who's going to know all about 2014 and beyond is Super Hater, aka Prophet Alpha, aka Adrian Murphy.
Hey Nerdiacs, what's up?
Can I get one more AKA? Big Bully.
Big Bully. 2014 is going to be good for the Nerdiacs, and it's going to be good for you. So welcome.
Well, guys, we roll. Let's jump right into our good, bad, and ugly. Prophet Alpha, why don't you start us off, man?
All right. My good for today is 2000. This year, you're going to see another dawn of the Planet of the Apes. 20th Century Fox did a remake with Rise that really revolutionized like how they portray the apes compared to the original things. The reason why I'm so excited about the Dawn is because they also released saying that they're going to do another third installment of it. So
What's coming after Dawn?
they haven't given the name, but since they have such a high anticipation for this Dawn that's coming out right now, that they just said, hey, you know what? We're going to secure a third one right now because they expect this one to really continue such a great story. James Franco was the star of the first one. It was The Rise of Caesar. This one is basically after the ape virus is destroyed the human race.
Because we saw that at the end of the first one.
At the end of I watched the first one, and at the end of the first one, I love how they show how the virus just spreads. How
he was coughing.
How the neighbor was a pilot who caught the virus from the one lab guy. And then he got on the plane, and then he just saw it, and then it just took over the world. And that's where Dawn comes in, after the virus has already wiped everybody out. So I love Planet of the Apes because the original ones was really my first sci-fi experience.
As a kid?
As a kid. It was the first time I had
Made
ever...
himself.
Oh, yeah. It was the first time as a kid where I saw a alternate world beyond the world that we live in right now. Especially when he walked up, Charlton Heston walked up, and it was the Statue of Liberty, and he was on Earth the whole time.
I've always said
that blew my mind, dude.
That's the greatest twist. I know some people say, Darth Vader, being Luke's father. I see dead people with 6 sense. I feel that watching Planet of the Apes. Yeah. When we found out, everybody knows it now, but the original was when we found out that he was on Earth the entire time.
But the good thing about the new ones, the Rise and the Dawn, is that they're directly tied into the original ones. Because if you watch Rise, the background story is talking about Colonel Taylor and them going out into space and being lost in space. So it's really awesome, and that was my good.
Yeah. Before we go right into Ryan's, I just want to tag along with that. I just want to say, if you haven't seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes, you need to. When the movie first came out, a couple of us, obviously big fans of it, were really.
It got bad reviews though originally.
Actually, it didn't.
No.
Actually, it was a total sleeper hit. No one expected anything.
That's
what I'm saying. Before it came out, no one was talking about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not bad in theaters. I'm just saying it got
the
bad.
expectation wasn't as high until people actually went and saw it. And Andy Serkis pulled. Andy Serkis is the guy from The Hobbit, but he pulled off
it
awesome
was incredibly
Did he win?
Did
he win? He won for that one, didn't he?
I don't think he did, but I think there was a lot of talk about why he could.
Yeah.
But
so my good is Marvel and DC and comic book rumors about movies. And one of the big ones that I've been hearing is Johnny Depp playing Doctor Strange. Now, the thing I like about the rumors going on and, always seeing new rumors just keeps everything fresh. Something's, 2015, that's a long way away, but I feel like it's right around the corner because they keep dropping little things on us, And obviously we know 2015 is going to be the nerds' dream year for movies.
Obviously, and hoverboards.
Yes, definitely. Personally, I think Johnny Depp can fit any of these roles. I want to see Johnny Depp in the Marvel Universe. There's some other actors I want to see in the Marvel Universe. I want to see Alec Baldwin in the Marvel Universe. I know I'm a big Alec Baldwin fan. I don't know if you guys know, but I always do like him and stuff, and I want to see him kind of come over as a villain or something. But
teach you how to sell.
Yes, I never really saw Johnny Depp as any of the characters because he's not that masculine, strong. I'm gonna punch someone in the face. But as Doctor Strange, I could see him having those little ticks, and he could do all the little weird things with his fingers and kind of grab that persona of him. Personally, I've always had Patrick Dempsey in the back of my mind to play Doctor Strange.
He was rumored to also.
Was he?
He was like one of the original, that I heard originally on blogs.
Maybe I did too. Maybe it's just in there, and I just think that's where I got it from. But I always thought of Patrick Dempsey being good. Just he has that wistful look. He kind of has the the salt and pepper hair like Doctor Strange, just trademark look. I feel like if there was a Doctor Strange, it would be Patrick Dempsey. Obviously, I prefer Johnny Depp as it for an actor. But honestly, I would think Patrick Dempsey would bring more to the role because we kind of seen Johnny Depp play everything already.
I want to ask you. I mean, I know you were talking about a lot of Doctor Strange's little ticks and whatnot. But do you feel that Johnny Depp would be almost too quirky for the role? Not saying he wouldn't take the source material seriously or whatnot, but in Lone Ranger, Pirates.
I don't think so. Just because Doctor Strange is the character that I've seen, as from my take of Doctor Strange, he does give you that lighthearted side with the seriousness. He can be very serious and be lighthearted. He can joke around with Spider-Man. Spider-Man's his buddy.
Johnny Depp does have a mystic look about him. He's always done those type of movies, and I think
he's just like that in real life.
What would you guys prefer? Patrick Dempsey or Johnny Depp?
If I had a choice, I would go. If it was just those two, I would say Johnny Depp, only because I know that Johnny Depp can pull the role off. Now, do I have Johnny Depp fatigue? Yeah, but I think that he could pull off a Doctor Strange.
See, I'm honestly leaning more toward Dempsey, and the reason why is because I feel like Dempsey's a bit more like tofu, as in. And Johnny Depp's much more like a hard spice. I feel like I kind of know what I'm going to get with him, but Dempsey I feel like will fit in more with that environment and not just draw all the attention to him.
I don't think he can hold a movie to himself.
The only thing that I was thinking about Johnny Depp is that he could be, Tony Stark. I can't think of his Robert Downey Jr. He could be a Robert Downey Jr. of the new Avengers type thing. He could be that big name for kind of like a sub team,
another type of personality.
So it can kind of bring you in and he's the big thing. It could be around him because Sorcerer Supreme. That's a huge character. That's a lot of stuff going on. He controls a lot of things that are going on Earth and saves the Earth a lot of times without people knowing about it.
In modern comics, Doctor Strange is nothing to be messed with.
Nothing to be messed
with, man.
Well, my good. Speaking of the comics, it's a bit of a spoiler alert. So then you guys know right now, spoiler alert. But Peter Parker returning back to Superior Spider-Man. I feel like some of my wonderful co-hosts won't be enjoying this one too much. But Parker's coming back. If you've been following Superior, you know that he's been destroyed / killed mentally in Superior by Doc Ock's mind when they swap bodies. We've talked about this before in a bunch of previous podcasts as well. But he should be coming back to the Amazing Spider-Man #1 this April. And I'm just going to read writer Dan Slott's quote on it. He says, however, the question on everyone's mind has not been when, but how Peter Parker returns from the dead. And Slott is very quick to tease just that, in a strange and terrifying way, and possibly at a great cost. Remember, nothing is easy for Peter Parker. It's one of the reasons he's a true hero. So, there's a chance that they may do something that's the opposite of what we saw in Superior at the beginning when Doc Ock is in the back of Parker's mind, whispering to him. What do you guys think about that?
I'm going to start off with nothing's ever easy for Peter Parker. I feel like there's a lot of things that have been really easy for him. I mean, he just showed up and woke up one day and got superpowers. That's pretty dope. His uncle did die, yes, but honestly, he's kind of old and... it wasn't much of a shock. It wasn't like, you lose him anyways.
He's Green Goblin.
He's going awesome,
That's Green Goblin, dog.
I'm going to talk about your uncle like that.
Dog, that's Green Goblin, dog. He was like,
I truly am the only Peter Parker.
But as far as, it's different when Superman loses his dad because it's still dad. It's still like, you're my dad, I'm growing up, I'm still getting to know you, and then dad dies. Batman. His parents died at a young age, super sad, whatever. This is an uncle that did raise him from being a child, but he's older, he's about to graduate high school, he's getting a little bit more popular. It's not, it wasn't, his whole world didn't come crashing down. He didn't have a place to live. He couldn't.
He was already identified.
Yes, he still had Aunt May to talk to or whatever. So as far as anything not going easy, I mean, Parker has the Parker luck. That's part of his thing. He gets lucky with a lot of things. everything ends up going his way one way or another. That's, the great thing about him. So yes, sometimes he does run into adversity, and that does make him a great hero. But to say that nothing ever comes easy for him, I think is a stretch, because a lot of things have come easy. Like Mary Jane, he didn't try that hard to get Mary Jane or any of the girls that he's got with, and for me, that's a big part of the story. It's Peter Parker and Mary Jane,
and they're out of his league as well.
Very out of his league. That's what I'm saying. How's that not easy? But he's getting girls out of his league. And as far as the comic book goes, I'm really happy. One, because now we're leading into the 2014 Amazing Spider-Man movie. For me, as a comic book owner, or comic shop owner, when people see the new promotion or whatever, they come in the shop and they want to buy Spider-Man, I tell them, hey, guess what? It's not really Peter Parker that's Spider-Man anymore. I feel like that kind of messes up the continuity, the connection between it. So any sales that these movies are going to be driving in, I feel is going to hurt it, because now I got to explain that Doc Ock is the guy, and they're like, well, Dr. Octopus is not even in the movies right now. And there's a lot of people that come in that specifically from watching the movie and wanting to know more about Spider-Man, which is surprising because it's such a big character anyways, and you would think people would be caught up, but he's not. But as far as the comic book industry goes, I'm really glad, because there's a lot of guys that stopped reading and they're going to come back to read Spider-Man, and the guys that were already reading Superior Spider-Man are not going to stop reading it, and they're going to keep going with it. Because it's Spider-Man, everyone likes Peter Parker at the end of the day, and you're going to want to know what happens in the stories. Even if you get mad and skip a couple issues, you're still going to end up reading the trade paperback. And number one, Chase issue is going to be huge.
Well, I was going to say this. I know we're jumping into the bad.
I was closed mouthed during this whole thing because it is my bad. Because the reason why his return is my bad is because even when you were reading what Dan Slott said about Peter Parker, I almost fell asleep because it's freaking boring. Doc Ock in Peter Parker's body as Superior Spider-Man was Spider-Man at if without the restrictions or the moral compass.
But that's not Spider-Man.
But listen.
It's an opinion.
But listen, as a reader who's been reading for a long, long time, it is good to have a fresh take on that. Like if I had stopped reading comics, because I had stopped reading Amazing Spider-Man, even though I was still collecting. I had stopped reading probably right before Spider Island. That's a long time ago. But I was buying them, but I wasn't reading them, so I didn't know what was really going on.
Right.
But I started reading again at Superior #1, and I was like, no, I bought Amazing Spider-Man 700.
Yeah.
Superior #1. I've been hooked ever since because I like that. I'm not really a Doc Ock fan, but
It was interesting.
it made me a Doc Ock fan because this is Doc Ock's ultimate revenge on Peter Parker.
So not only did it shake up Spider-Man, but it made you a Doc Ock fan?
It made me a Doc Ock fan.
I don't even know you, Adrian.
Well, the thing is because the way that they interpret it in the reading is Doc Ock isn't as bad as the other bad guys. You know what I mean? That Doc Ock does have some type of.
I don't know. He
compass.
tried to fry the whole world recently. I know. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna cut you off though, just because you say you haven't been reading it. Spider Island, the whole Horizon, him getting hired at Horizon, those were also great story arcs. They had great art on it. It was just a great story, period. And with as far as Doc Ock goes, I don't know if I can agree with him being the not a bad guy, because in one of the stories, World's End, he was he fried half the world. People were dying. Silver Sable died in that series actually. So a major Marvel character was wiped out.
In his right mind. He was
no, but that was the thing. He was manipulating everyone to say, "Look, I built these big satellites. Basically, the satellites were supposed to change the ecosystem and make everything better."
Yeah.
And then when all the world signed up, yeah, let's do it. He was like, "Just kidding, Fry."
He was not in his right mind. Doc Ock, at that point in time, he hadn't corrupted Peter Parker's mind.
But your thing was he's not as bad as he seems when he just a month before tried to fry half the planet. I don't know how much badder you can get.
I'll put it to you like this. I think
it's worse than Venom. Venom doesn't look like Spider-Man.
When he accepted the responsibility of taking over Peter Parker's body,
a change did happen.
A change happened in him. He did a paradigm shift. He realized his wrongdoing.
How he has to,
and he is not an evil character as Superior Spider-Man. He is a good guy. Even though he's extreme in his methods.
Did he just do something shady though? I'm trying to think.
He killed the bad guy. He shot him.
Besides that, when he killed the Spider Slayer.
So
he's the judge and executioner now. Judge Dredd.
Hey, Punisher told.
But we're talking about Spider-Man.
Wait, Punisher told Superior Spider-Man, hey, you're okay in my book.
That's
So
bad.
The Punisher told you that?
That's bad.
Do you want the Punisher to say he doesn't have a problem
I want
with you?
Captain America to say he doesn't have a problem with
Well,
you.
that's
what I'm
about to
saying.
go down now.
It is.
But the thing is, it's like, okay, I already know that Peter Parker's going to come back. But for me as a reader, that's exciting reading.
It was, and now it's over.
It is.
30
It
issues.
is.
You got 30 issues.
It is. And I just want to see how they
So now
bring
we got
Doc
it
Ock
back.
back.
So-
I want to see how they bring Doc Ock back.
So-
Do they bring
He's
him
not coming back. There's no
Is
way.
that official?
I don't think he's coming back.
Come on, dude. It's Doc Ock. He's an
They've
American
been trying to kill him
icon.
off for years.
Well, I know we'll be. I mean, we clearly love some Spider-Man here. We'll keep talking about this. No, but I mean, like really, we do.
I'm bored by Peter Parker, dude.
So,
how many more tragedies can he have?
Honestly,
dude?
you can't say that when you haven't been reading it. You can't say you're bored when you don't read it.
I was reading. I've been reading for years.
I understand, but you have been reading for the
It's the
last
same
5 years.
stuff.
No, it's
I
not.
wanna
Well, I've
say-
been reading for the last 2 years of Superior.
Yeah.
Well, I will say
That's
this: it's interesting to.
But I am
It's
gonna
interesting
read it.
to say what you were saying because. Mirror, I don't know if we talked about this before, but how much I love Spider-Man, but I wasn't really following anything until Superior came out, and so I'm excited about Peter Parker coming back because I can appreciate it more. But I kind of agree that it's like, man, how many tragedies can Parker have? And something interesting,
And Ryan
like,
was just saying, man, Peter Parker isn't too good. I'm talking about Peter Parker just got his butt handed to him by Doc Ock.
I'm saying,
I wouldn't
but
say
maybe.
that. Because the reason why Doc Ock is back, Doc Ock was on his deathbed. And yes, he tricked him. He did trick him, yes. But it wasn't, but Spider-Man just followed his plans to destroy the Earth. He was burning it up and he just stopped him. He was like, there's no way anyone can stop me. And he stopped him.
Yeah.
And how many times did Peter Parker beat him? All the time. He was on his deathbed because Peter Parker had beat him so many
waxed him
times.
so many times.
So
That's
if
what
he
I'm saying. Doc Ock
does, so if he
wasn't
does
in his right mind.
if he does a Freaky Friday switch, I'm not gonna say he got his butt whipped by him. I'm gonna say he got tricked by some shitty stuff.
But-
He wasn't. It wasn't like it was a head-to-head battle or a forces of battle. He just said, "I'm on my deathbed. I need to see Spider-Man," and then he switched minds with him. Who in the right mind would have ever thought of a mind
It
switch?
wasn't in the 7. It wasn't in that one where
Captain
he
Ginyu.
got his ultimate
Yeah,
victory.
Captain Ginyu.
To me, Octavius got his ultimate victory in Superior when he completely erased and tore down.
That's
Peter
true, and that
Parker's
was a big-
world.
that was a big part
big
of it.
thing.
That was a
when
big
he's
part of it.
like, because he knew that Peter Parker was in his mind. You know, manipulating it. So he was like, okay, all right. And then he just started erasing Peter Parker's memories. That was awesome.
It was good. It was good storytelling.
I still
it was good
love
storytelling.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man
Sure.
is still my ultimate favorite because he's
I don't think
so
you can say that after
historic.
everything you said.
But
You said you like Doc Ock better than Peter Parker. Like
that Superior run,
Right. So
Did it
by
for
you
me.
saying,
But I'm
that
gonna agree
Doc
with
Ock
you.
is better than Peter Parker is saying that you're not a Spider-Man fan. Like you just
why do I
you're
have to be so
contradicting yourself.
absolute? Right?
I'm just saying.
I think the interesting
listen.
is that
The only thing I'm going to agree with you on is that I'm going to continue reading Amazing. I'm not going to go back because
That's your bad. You're missing out.
no. I'm not going to stop.
You didn't read
at
Spider
Superior.
Island?
I'm going to though. That's the excitement about it. Is that I still have them and I can
It's
just go
like
back in
talking
my
about
box.
Star Wars and you haven't seen the most 3 recent movies. Like
I read bits and pieces of it, but I don't know the whole piece
Okay.
of Spider Island.
so, moving on to Ugly.
no. I think this is your bad, man.
Oh, it's our bad? Okay.
Yeah.
So Injustice Year 2 came out, number 1 comic book issue. There's the thing with the comic books translating over to the video game world, or the video games translating to the comic book world, that I've always kind of had an issue with because the storytelling isn't very good and the art's always like subpar, which is like really confusing because the whole game is based on storytelling and art.
Sure.
And when they translate it to comics, it just never really gets there. You know, Assassin's Creed's been doing pretty good. Mass Effect has some cool comics. Halo did okay on some things. But those are like huge franchises. I'm talking about just like the sub ones, like Injustice. Injustice came out with theirs. They had a really cool storyline.
I've heard nothing but great things about
Story
Injustice.
is
Are we talking about the
amazing.
video game now or the
The
comic?
video game comic.
The video game comic.
Yeah, I got it.
But it's,
I read that.
it goes right along with
Yeah.
with the video game. It was a whole thing, really good, you know. And they also did the same thing with the DC Universe Online. Is that they did a comic book for that, the free downloadable game on PlayStation and pretty much everything else. But see, the thing that I don't like about it is if you're going to be doing stuff like Forever Evil or the Trinity War stuff, why not put that in the video game so people are exposed to that story and they bring it over and then they're like, oh, I want to know about this, and then they can jump into the whole DC universe instead of waiting for one comic book to come out that's okay. You're going to spend millions of dollars on a video game and marketing it, and then you're going to market a story that doesn't even exist really. Like,
So you almost think like they're ostracizing other potential buyers.
exactly, because there's a lot of guys out there like Superman is so cool for ripping out Joker's heart. You know, spoiler alert, but you're not going to get that in a regular DC book. He's not going to, you know what I mean? So if there's some way like they do it Forever Evil where it's a temporary like, shift in how the whole universe works. Let's do that with the video game storyline. Like, you guys obviously already know your stories years in advance. Why not incorporate that into all types of media? Just like they're doing with their animated films. They're doing Justice League War now. That's going to be based on the first, 6 or 7 issues of the Justice League series,
The new one. New 52.
Of New 52 Justice League series. So, I just don't understand why they can't do that.
That is weird. Yeah,
that's why it's my bad, because Marvel, they'll do, or not Marvel, but, I guess it is Marvel for Halo, and for the other video games, they always kind of keep it tied into everything, or it's just another retelling of the story that's going on. I don't like the retellings because I already played the game, I already know the story, but if you can give me something that's before, after, or maybe in between.
That works side by side with it.
Exactly. Then, I'll be way more happy with that. So, basically what I'm saying is I wish they would just stop doing the different video games to comic book thing,
So here's my bad. Damon Lindelof? I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I'm just going to call him Damon. You probably know him best as a writer and producer for Lost. I'm not sure if he produced Lost, but I definitely know he wrote for it. Fans either loved or hated the series ending. I did not watch the show. I watched maybe the first season, and I was like, I'm done with it. But he also did Prometheus, which, man, Adrian over here was not a big fan of as well. But his thing is that he's known for creating a mystery and never solving the said mystery in stories, and especially with Lost. Like, he's known for like these setups. And if you watch any type of cinema and movies in general are literally made upon setups and payoffs. I mean, that's the basis of storytelling in general. So his new series is called The Leftovers. It deals with the aftermath of 140 million people who are raptured. They suddenly go missing. When asked more about the show and about what happens to those characters who missed, he pretty much said that he doesn't want the viewers to dwell on the missing people and instead focus on the actual characters. Really, Damon? This makes no sense at all. That doesn't make any type of plausible sense how you're going to sell a TV show idea, the thing that sets the entire setup of the show into motion, and then tell viewers, oh, hey, that big issue that all these stories are going to be about? Don't worry about that. I'm pretty much not going to solve that for you. I think that's the main problem that people have with it, because it's like...
Real quick, though, it almost sounds like it's just going to be a regular drama, but with 140 million less people on Earth.
Yeah. So nobody wants to know why the people are missing, but the people that are left there...
I want to see them in heaven. I want to see what's popping.
It sounds like a show. It sounds like a show that got canceled halfway through, right? Like they were like Alcatraz was like that. Was a show like when people disappeared from the past. Like it got canceled halfway through, so they never really explained it. That's what it sounds like. It's just got canceled, except this is actual plan for the show. The only show that I know that can actually pull off not explaining things like that is The Walking Dead, which doesn't explain where the zombies came from, because that's the point. The zombies aren't the important part. The important part is just seeing this band of humans survive.
The survival.
It's terrible storytelling, and Damon, like, this is why a lot of people aren't fans of your work. Because if you're going to keep pissing off viewers, then like, why would people want to tell these stories or hear these stories?
I find Damon Lindelof's work very sketchy, dude. Like, for me, like, the hype up of Prometheus, when Prometheus was coming, I think that was 2012. Like, Ridley Scott was coming back to his...
to the Alien franchise.
To his Alien baby, you know what I mean? But it was written by this guy, right? I saw Prometheus and I left there with a perplexed look of just like disappointment compared to the hype. You know what I mean? I was lost. It was like he almost took the television show and put it into the Alien franchise, and I was lost. My opinion of Damon Lindelof is he's basically like M. Night Shyamalan.
Man,
that's hard.
That's
tough. Because he did Star Trek.
Dude, I'm just
saying he did Star Trek, and a lot of people didn't like it.
Better or for worse.
To call it just to compare to M. Night Shyamalan.
Which Star Trek? The first one?
He did Star Trek Into Darkness. He did World War Z.
I didn't like.
He did Cowboys and Aliens.
I hated World War Z.
He did.
The first Star Trek was good, but that's Abrams, right? Or is that Abrams' guy? Abrams is the one who did Star
He's
Trek.
writing it. He's writing them. He's the writer.
Abrams and him work together, and I was the same. I love the first Star Trek, and I'm a Trekker. You know, I love the first Star Trek, and I hated Into Darkness.
I'll tell you then.
But
I'll tell you then. If that's Abrams' dude,
He did World War Z though.
I didn't like World War Z.
I'm just saying.
You know this.
People liked it though. It's not about. It's you know.
I didn't think World War
I'm
Z
just saying you
was
can't
that
say he's M Night Shyamalan.
In my
And
opinion,
he did. I understand.
my
I understand
opinion,
that.
He's M Night.
That doesn't make
Shyamalan.
sense though, because
Why?
M Night Shyamalan is probably one of the worst directors of all time as far as anything goes. And we're
that's your
trying.
opinion.
We're comparing a director to a writer. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. M Night Shyamalan is also the writer of all of his
I see
movies.
what you're- I was gonna say, in your eyes, in Adrian's eyes, those two people are on the same level.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be
As far as the sketchiness of what I'm going to expect out of a movie,
like you're
he's
not
M.
going to
Night
get
Shyamalan.
hype if Damon's behind.
I
something.
have no confidence in what he's going to put out. He has a no confidence vote. Now, statistically, one's
He
a
may come
writer,
with more
one's
hits, yeah. But I
he
see what you're
might.
saying.
But for me, am I going to get excited about anything that he's a part of, a piece of? No, because he let me down. I wasn't a Lost guy, but I got into it on the last season just to see how it was going to end, and I was lost. I was lost.
So were people going to season 1. So.
And what else did he do?
I mean, he's. Excuse me. I mean, like he's done some stuff. Like Ryan was saying, like he's done some stuff that are hits, and then
He's
do
doing
like
Tomorrowland. He's gonna be the writer on
See that
Tomorrowland.
worries me because you know I'm a big,
I liked World War Z. I liked Star Trek. It was cool. Prometheus sucked. Cowboys and Aliens got no love from anybody. Lost was one of the greatest followings for a show in I don't know how long, right? I don't.
Yeah, it was.
He did 79
but
episodes.
we
Regardless
see-
regardless of what anyone says, he had a following.
And
M Night Shyamalan's never had a following. That's all I'm
well,
saying.
you can't really say that because
either,
after
dude.
Sixth Sense,
But we're talking about a following.
he gets works. But the thing is,
Lost had
movies,
79 episodes.
movies and
and
TV are a bit different though. You know what I mean? I mean, he still literally gets to work.
Unbreakable.
off the Sixth Sense.
Unbreakable was a good effort for M Night at that time. But
you have Sam Jackson and Bruce Willis on screen. If you mess that up and they're the main characters,
But maybe
and
this
it's
is
not,
more
you know,
telling. Maybe this is
you
even
messed
more
up Will
telling.
And honestly, even in
messed up Will
Unbreakable,
Smith.
even in Unbreakable though, I was never convinced. The whole superhero thing, it was a cool twist at the end, but they could have did so much more with that. And even the powers of the guys were inconsistent in the story. It was just so they're superheroes. Even then, he didn't even explain much. It was just what's going on? And then they didn't do a second one. It was
Well, here's the thing about Damon, though. I mean, maybe this thing to worry about. I think that you know what? I think that the M Night Shyamalan comparison is true for this because how we said about Lost. You know, such people were following Lost. Yeah, Lost is great. I love Lost. I don't know how it's going to end. I'm sure it's going to be great. It ends, and people are just like, what?
Yeah.
Now he's got another TV show, and people are going to be like, nah, you're not getting me this time. Almost just like M Night Shyamalan. Now people are like, nah, M Night, you're not. You got me last time.
M Night lost me after The Village.
So,
The Village, he lost.
M
me.
Night only had one though. He had one movie that everyone liked, and that's Signs.
people.
Signs was good too. Signs was good, and Sixth Sense was good.
Yeah. Sixth Sense was. I mean, yeah.
Signs, another horrible ending.
Yeah.
It
They're
wasn't-
allergic to water. No.
And then he sets up the
the
water
evidence.
jugs all around the house. Yeah, come on, dude.
But let's jump into this ugly man. We got
My-
some good stuff. So
Okay, I'm gonna start with my ugly saying, okay, Marvel Studios is recruiting a lot of old guys for their new hero lineup. It was just said that Michael Douglas is gonna be playing Hank Pym
my man,
in the new Ant-Man
Liberace.
movie.
Michael Douglas.
this is Liberace.
Yes.
But it's so good.
He was, okay, when I think of Hank Pym, I don't want to think of Liberace.
He's a great actor.
It's Silver Age Hank Pym.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's still old, dude.
Tony Stark's 52.
You mean Robert Downey Jr.? 's
Exactly.
52. Yeah. So
He's only
Michael
17 years
Douglas
his
playing
senior.
that, Paul Rudd playing Scott Lang. I think Marvel, they're when they first came out, they were using a lot of fresh new actors
Sure.
with new faces and building up new guys. Now it seems like, and now that they've already established that they're going to this, okay, now that we're with this company, let's bring in all these big actors. Now it could be a reaction to DC and their efforts of bringing in these top name
Which
actors.
I kind of doubt personally.
Yeah, but I would like to see them build up some You know, because I even had a lot of trepidation about Paul Rudd.
Sure.
You know, when it wasn't announced that he was going to be Scott Lang, when I thought it was just going to be Hank Pym, and I was like, oh man, he's not even blonde. But since they're going to have Michael Douglas playing a Silver Age, I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's also directed by what's his
Edgar Allan.
Edgar Allan Wright, and sometimes I might be a little bit shaky about his direction also. So
World's End.
I just think that as far as us as fans and watching these movies, how much of a commitment can these old actors put into a sequel, all right, or
much less a
trilogy
movie
or a 4-movie deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to lose that actor in a series that you kind of think that Marvel's intention is to go into phase 20.
Yeah.
As far as their
And
movies.
Robert Downey Jr. has already expressed stuff, about Iron Man, saying, "Hey, I can't run and jump around forever," and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
I do have to disagree though with Marvel's, starting off with just trying to get hot new guys, and I'm just gonna name off a few guys that have been part of the first phase of the Marvel universe. When you say getting new guys, you had Eric Bana, he's a big actor. Edward Norton Jr., Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Hugo Weaving, Sam Jackson, Scarlett Johansson. I mean, these are big names they're bringing. Sam Jackson, that's an old dude. He's old school, and that's one of the first guys that were really building the franchise was on a 45-year-old Robert Downey Jr. and an old 40, maybe 50-something-year-old Samuel Jackson.
Like the least known
Why did you
is Chris
include Eric
Evans.
Bana in there though?
Because he was a big actor when he came out. Like that was a big, he was hot in Hollywood.
Eric Bana's still hot. But
Yeah.
I was kind of going off of the Marvel
The
universe.
MCU, okay,
Yeah, I wasn't
so-
really kind of going off of the first generation because then
he's not talking about the first Hulk,
I'm not talking about
as we
that
talked
one.
about.
No, I
the
know,
last
but I'm just saying
podcast.
these are all big names. Chris Evans was a big name when he got. Everyone knew who Chris Evans was.
Yeah, but he
already
wasn't
played
top
in Marvel.
tier.
But it wasn't like he was a new fresh face. We all knew him
nobody knew
from
who Chris
Fantastic Four.
Hemsworth was as Thor.
All right, you're picking now, but what I'm saying is I think there's more big names than small names as far as main characters, for sure. And for them to bring in Michael Douglas, they're just adding another big name to a movie. Paul Rudd's not going to bring in those Marvel movie numbers. You need someone attached to it. Like, and who else did I forget? Who else is in Thor? Yeah, Chris Hemsworth, but guess who Odin was? You know what I mean? That's a huge name, and
For the main hero.
That's a good.
for the main hero, yeah.
For the main
There's
hero.
more
That's
big
true.
names.
When
than
they
small
had-
Old
names.
guys
When they had
are not
Anthony
going to
Hopkins,
last,
though.
dude.
But the thing is, Michael Douglas isn't the main hero. I can already see the setup. He's gonna I think they're already talking about the plot. He's gonna be the old guy, the old Ant-Man, whatever. He's gonna find the suit. Like I feel like that's a good setup.
I think that Paul Rudd is too old, to be honest. I mean, even if it is Michael Douglas, my whole thing is that for somebody like my daughter who's 14 years
I
old,
can't believe
who
another young
comes up,
scientist though.
What's
That's
gonna
Peter
happen?
Parker, though.
you know, she wants to grow with this character.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
she gets committed into Ant-Man,
Your daughter wants to grow up with Ant-Man.
to grow with the character,
That's what I'm
She'll be
saying.
the first person in history.
But I think also, but on the flip side of what you're saying though is that, like Ryan said, these people need to be believable. You can't have
Yeah.
like a 25-year-old person who's like, I hate that in movies. It's
Creating
like,
Ultron.
really, you're 25 years old and you're
And you create Ultron.
creating this stuff and like you're fluent in how many languages and you got how many PhDs.
Right,
Like
and you're
nah,
married
homie. Like that's
and-
just not enough time.
So there aren't people like that are super genius.
Yeah, there is,
Not
but
that young.
in the realm
majority
of
of
scientists,
believability.
Rarely.
in the realm of being a scientist or
Rarely.
anything like that, when
Rarely.
you're above like a certain age, you're considered obsolete.
Adrian, it's barely though.
Think about-
we're trying to
How
connect
many
with everybody.
How many movies have you seen where the lead protagonist is like some female, like, yeah, man, she's finished up her 4th PhD and she's too busy for any relationships and she's like 26
Like they
years
exist. They exist. But
old. One may exist. Have you ever seen those Nobel Peace Prize winners? These people are like 85 years old, dedicated their lives to science. They're not super fit on top of that. Like almost 40 is pushing it.
and they're already talking about it being more on the comedic side, and Paul Rudd is a freaking comedic genius. So who would you prefer?
I personally, I think it's probably going to be a decent effort. It's going to be a decent effort. It's not going to be something that I'm clamoring. It's going to be my best Marvel Studios thing.
You just want somebody to grow with.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see them build up another.
Sure.
I would like to see them build up the next, like how Chris Hemsworth. He is the next action guy.
Oh wait, and I want to cut you off there too. Scott Lang
he
isn't
likes to
supposed to
cut
be.
me off. Huh?
Well, we're talking about stuff that's not
Go ahead.
even true though. Scott Lang, he's not even the scientist. Hank Pym is.
What are we talking about? What are we
Because we're talking
referencing
about Paul Rudd isn't like the age part of Paul Rudd. What does it matter? He's not Hank Pym.
He's Scott Lang.
I know, but what's
that didn't come out until they announced it as Michael Douglas. So before,
no, everyone knew it wasn't gonna be Hank Pym before. That was the thing.
When
for
they
sure.
first announced Paul Rudd,
I'm gonna disagree with you. You can go with it, but
All right.
it's just like the
We'll be
whole
able to
thing.
look it up.
I
Yeah,
definitely
we'll
know
look it
that
up.
it was
Yeah.
always not gonna be Hank Pym from the beginning, for sure. Because even when they did the suit, that's not Hank Pym's suit.
we actually talked about this in the podcast.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so my ugly is Superman and Batman being pushed back to 2016. The reason why it's my ugly is because one, they try to keep up with the Avengers announcement and all that stuff as far as the big 2015 year. Disney's doing all this stuff. Warner Brothers want to get on the action.
You can't catch a break, man.
They can't catch a break. And for me, I was like, okay, this is gonna be one of the greatest summers of movies ever. And because of the big studios making the big franchise movies.
Disney has Avengers and Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. So now I can see, as far as market share goes, everybody will be like, oh, well, maybe people won't want to see what we're doing because they're saving or whatever. I don't know the process of what they look at the box office. Maybe more people are going to go to Star Wars than come see us. Because personally, I'm going to go see Star Wars before any Marvel or DC movie, honestly. Like, I'm going to go, if Star Wars and Avengers came out the same day, I'm going to go see Star Wars. That's just, I grew up with it. Star Wars is more into what I do, as my nerdism.
Your nerd hierarchy of
Nice nerd hierarchy of things. Star Wars really got me into that whole outside universe and everything connecting and stuff. So I just think it's bad because now we have to wait even longer.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna be as hyped about it the next year because I'm already getting all this good content. Avengers coming out next. It's almost like a filler year now. Like you're hitting that filler year of nothing that's good.
It's like a weak draft class.
Yeah, exactly. And then with all the stuff they're talking about, if they're moving it back this long, does that mean there's going to be rewrites? Does that mean, they're going to just completely change what's going on already? I know they're talking about being able to shoot other movies, along with it and trying to keep all the actors together and stuff. But, I mean, good strategy financially, maybe?
Yeah.
Does that mean the movies are going to be better?
Well, I will say the good thing about that is that I was actually reading another article talking about that, and they said thing is that it's not common for if an issue happens now, let's say like whatever it is that maybe it delays a week or something like that, a week or two. It's not common for issues like that to have those kind of repercussions where like, okay, maybe it was like a 3-day stoppage, but that may push our date back a month or something like that. So it may not be anything big,
right? Right.
Obviously you don't want to hear that.
But DC does these big pushes, Warner Brothers these big pushes, and honestly, everyone's already been sketch on the whole Warner Brothers Studios in the first place. They're putting out all these bad superhero movies in the past, and now we finally got something decent to go off of Superman.
Why stop your momentum?
Yeah, exactly.
But the interesting part about it is the release date that the time slot that they want to do it in is May of 2016, I think, and tentatively that might be May is normally Tony Stark. That'd be the year where they would put out another Iron Man 3. So that means that DC is trying to get in early, and that's what happened for me with Man of Steel. Is Man of Steel didn't bring in the numbers like Iron Man 3 or relatively nowhere near what
I think it brought
Avengers.
like 700 million or something like that. I mean, Avengers and I believe Iron Man 3 did billion.
But
plus,
it came in at such a crowded, like there was so many movies that came out where Man of Steel got lost in it, and I think them moving it back because
Get an open weekend.
because I heard that they were filming Justice League along with it. Spoiler alert, but. They take that May time slot, so whatever Marvel's going to put out in May,
It's gotta go head-to-head against-
It's got to go head to head against them.
You don't
so
want
it
to
might
see-
be
yeah.
a good strategy,
Yeah.
because it was going to be a crowded 2015.
You don't want a Black Panther movie against Justice League.
Yeah. So
And the thing that it just sucks is like Marvel's putting out all this consistent work. Now we got 3 years between movies, and you're gonna lose a lot of people that care. You know,
that's a long time.
And with the Avengers, it was like build up, billion, money in the bank, let's go.
But
well,
here's the
look
great
at the build up
thing.
now to Avengers too. I mean, you got
Yeah.
Winter Soldier coming out in 3 months, and then you got Guardians coming out in the summer. What else are they working on? Anything else?
I mean, well, we've got obviously Days of Future Past. I mean, technically that's not under the Marvel thing,
Marvel.
but I mean, Marvel's still making that bread off of it. So.
Who's directing Days of Future? Is it M. Night Shyamalan directing?
Get out of here, man! You know something, Brian. There's something, Brian. Well, here's the one thing you can't say about the Justice League delays. As I'm about to jump into my ugly, is that Ryan mentioned earlier, we saw the trailer for War. DC animations will keep coming out, and if you're not on DC animations, they are bananas. Like, they are far too good. Like, we don't deserve things that are that good. I mean, they are incredible, and War is going to be no different. My ugly, speaking of 2015 films, is one of my high-ranking films that I would see over a new Star Wars film. That's Jurassic World, also known as Jurassic Park 4. I love me some Jurassic Park, but the ugly thing about it is that Sam Neill has said that he's not going to be in Jurassic World. Sam Neill is Dr. Alan Grant, who was in the first one and the third one. He's one of my favorite characters in there besides Ian Malcolm, who was played by Jeff Goldblum in the first one, who's known as the guy in all black. I'm not even going to try to say his line like that because I can't. And then Robert Mulden, who people are like, who's that guy? He's the guy who says, clever girl. Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah. But he's just, the cool hunter from Kenya. Like, he's just awesome. Died, unfortunately, in the first movie. But Sam Neill is not going to be in it. His full quote was said that, talking about Jurassic World, I'm sure it's going to be great, but they don't need me. I think there's a whole new cast and a whole new look at things. I think that's great. As I said, I never say no, but I wish them well. So it's clear there's no bad feelings, or anything like that. He just seems to be moving on with some other stuff, and so are there. I just love him. I loved what he brought to the first one. The reveal that he does, I think we're all kind of playing this in our mind when he turns around and the music's swelling and he takes off his hat and we see the dinosaurs for the first time. That's part of cinema history forever. And I'm just upset he won't be around for more adventures.
Is Spielberg doing this?
Spielberg, I think, is producing it, but they actually have a different director on there. So, yeah, it's been in and out of production hell for a bit.
My favorite was 3. I liked 3. Is 3 was
3's when they go back.
When they go back to look for the kid.
Yeah.
I thought 3 was hard. 3 was the most underrated one for me.
I thought so too because I enjoyed it, but I really enjoyed them all, especially looking at them now. I think that they all hold up especially well, especially the first one if you watch in 1080. It's incredible. That movie is over 20 years old.
Yeah, you mean it's the realistic?
Oh man, Stan Winston Studios. That type of stuff. It's But so Adrian, man, and let's get into your topic before we start debating.
Well, the topic of the day was Ryan had came up with something. What was your topic, Ryan?
I'll go ahead and hit your topic, Adrian.
I know you want to start this music. You hit me up talking about
all right. So I will go into it. My thing was nerd culture has kind of infiltrated into a lot of different genres. Now, there's always a lot of debate on our little blog sites that we go on to of what we consider nerds. Well, I recently went to a Janelle Monáe concert in downtown San Diego. Had a really good time. And one of the things that I noticed about it was basically her whole set was basically science fiction nerdish. And as I'm scanning through the crowd, I'm seeing, I'm there in my nerd chic. I got on my Batman Joker smile shirt, and I like to call it nerd chic. But I'm seeing everybody there, heads throughout the crowd that are representing some type of superhero culture or things that because if you look at her set, it was all black and white, and it was almost like an anime.
Oh wow!
The way that she performs. And the way that she kind of, and I just think that nerd culture is in a lot of different genres where I almost get the sense that these guys really love comics too because it comes out in their art. But even though music is their main thing, and we as nerds sometimes don't look at music artists sometimes as being nerds.
And Childish Gambino's a lot same way.
And I just picked up tickets to go see Childish Gambino. Now, Childish Gambino is Donald Glover. He plays on Community on NBC. Well, I didn't even pay attention to Community, but Childish Gambino, he has this album out. It's called Because of the Internet, and it's just floored me with his creativity and his flows. He almost sounds like Will Smith did when Will Smith first came out with with him and Jazzy Jeff, he's got to kind of have a. But the way he uses his rhymes and the
Challenge
things
was like that on Camp too.
Yeah, Camp is a good album too.
Great
but
album, yeah.
because of the internet, is a way more
Yeah.
advanced album than Camp. Even though Camp is hard, but his flow is really really good.
It's a lot of that nerdcore type
And
stuff.
it's a lot of nerdcore stuff. And he talks about nerdy things. He talks about life. And it just, I can relate to it as a nerd. And I can say, I bet you this guy is, in my mind, I'm like, I bet you this guy can have a conversation about superheroes
And you know
just
he's a
like
nerd.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like,
Let's
you know
get
what
him
I'm
on the
gonna
show.
do? You know what I'm going to do? I was like, I'm going to have our Nerdiac cards made. And when I go see his concert, dude, I'm going to get at him, dude. I'm going to be like, man, come on to our
That's right.
podcast.
Childish Gambino is going to be
We
on our
get
show.
Donald Glover.
Theo's lying
Come
to
on
you
to the
right
Nerdiacs,
now.
Donald. Donald, Childish, come on. We got Nerdiac family in the music business. Go get us.
So yeah, on to more realistic things.
Ryan Dream Crusher.
Come on, Norman.
Yeah, so for me, we talked about the PS4 before, and it's been 2 months now since the system's come out, and I've got to play around a little bit. And there's some things I like. One, Need for Speed, overrated, one-player game. You can't race against your friends. Killzone, overrated. Space Guns, Halo knockoff. I don't care what anyone says. You can argue me all day. I can go on about first-person shooters. It's just a Halo on PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4. I feel like, and you're not jumping around punching people in the face. That's the downside of it. Once again, not multiplayer. Can't run through the game with my friend. Battlefield 4, same thing. Can't run through the game with my friend. Really disappointed on the lack of being able to play games with my friends in the new system. Kind of having problems finding people online. One of my friends are buying the system, but they don't have the same games that I have. I have all the games, so I'm willing to jump on any game that they have, so I'm fine.
Trying to meet him halfway.
Yeah, exactly. But even the online community and those are just, they're still lackluster.
It's not built up yet.
It's just not built up yet. There's there's still a lot of like glitches and stuff, a little bit of lag. I tried to play Madden, it was just lag. I'm locked in. I got Verizon Fios plugged in directly. I'm locked in. My connection's good.
Like it's not
And it's
you.
still
It's not me. It's still lagging. It's
Servers
just
then.
it's just the servers. It's just a lot of stuff going on with it. I'm not the biggest tech guy in the world, but when I'm playing and it feels sluggish, I can feel it.
And you're paying now for PlayStation Plus.
Yes,
right?
I got the bundle when it came out, so I get the 2 years. So yes, I've paid, but I'm done until 2016 almost. So
Justice League comes out.
when Justice League comes out, I'll have to pay again, and I'll pay for another 2 years probably up front. But as far as the PlayStation Plus is amazing. I'm already getting my value out of PlayStation Plus. That's another thing I wanted to talk about was PlayStation Plus. They have so many games that have come out for. They're all entertaining. They keep putting them out. PlayStation just announced that they're going to be doing the PlayStation Now. We're going to be able to download the older games, PlayStation 3 games, so you can play on PlayStation 4. The cool thing about that is if I have Grand Theft Auto, the PS3 version, I'm playing on PS4, I can play with you on your PS3, and that's the cool thing that they kept.
What about if you already had it for the PS3?
I don't know yet. We'll see. They might do a download code, but honestly, they might make you buy it again.
That would be horrible.
It wouldn't be horrible because one, a lot of people stop buying games for the PlayStation 3. So any games that you don't have that came out in like the last few months, you probably don't even have it anyways. And if you do, honestly, I'd buy Grand Theft Auto again. It was a great series. I'd love to give them $60.
They probably
again.
aren't going to go buy. They'll probably have a discounted price. Number one,
Exactly.
And number two, you're not going to go buy your whole library.
Yeah, exactly. But there's like for me, I would spend money on getting a GTA for PS4. I do not like switching over my system just to play one game, So if they did that, that would be cool. But just to even have that as an offer, Xbox isn't doing that, Obviously, that's the big part of them. They do that all the time.
Yeah.
But I really like that PlayStation's giving us a bigger library because they don't have games until, I don't know of any good games until like June, honestly. There's some good games coming. I think maybe Metal Gear Solid comes out in April or March. And I am looking forward to that. But besides that, there's only a few games that are coming out. So as far as the $450 investment, I'm still loving it. Obviously, because I have a 4K TV and the thing plays amazing on there. But, as far as the games go, it's nothing too exciting. Obviously, Assassin's Creed's amazing. You're Pirates of the Caribbean, basically, playing that game. All they had to do was make the character Johnny Depp.
I think I said the exact line when he reviewed PlayStation 4. Like that exact line.
What's that?
Pirates of the Caribbean should have made your character Johnny Depp.
Oh shoot!
I think he said that exact.
It's really good though. The story's good. I think I'm like 35% in now. I'm still like far behind, but I just got my own little island, and like it just like stepped up even more. I was like, man, this game's gonna get really boring if I have to keep doing the same thing. But it's like add a little bit more, adds a little bit more. So I'm excited to get through it. I'm wondering if the game ends at like 60 or 70%. It never ends at 100%. So I think
those are the side.
Yeah, I think I'm halfway through the actual story mode right now.
Okay.
So I'm pretty pumped on that. But it's from what I see and from what I hear about Xbox One, I'm still gonna go over PS4. You know, I'm not hearing anything amazing.
No buyers
for me to pay
I-
over $100 more for something that's the same. You know,
I'll tell you, we were talking earlier how I had bought both of them, and I was gonna, because of supply and demand, I was gonna try and flip my PlayStation 4, and I was gonna keep the Xbox One. So I did. I sold the PlayStation 4, hooked up my Xbox. I just got a brand new TV. So I went through all this, hooked up the television, got it done right, made sure all my video settings were good, hooked up the Xbox, did all the things, the voice control, everything like that. And as I was doing, I was like, I am never going to play this game. I'm not, I went through it and set everything up. And then I was like, I still got like Batman Origins on the PS3. I got like Resident Evil 6 on the PS3. I got Dead Rising 2, which I bought Dead Rising 3 for the Xbox One. So I'm like, it's going to be a year before I play it. So then I was like, man, maybe now let me call over there and see if they have a PlayStation so I could take my Xbox back. Because I had just took it out of the box. So I'm going to take my Xbox back and go get the PlayStation. And I called over there and like, no, we probably won't have any for about 3 weeks. And I was like, oh, I had already took my PlayStation 4 back. But after thinking about it, I'm going to keep the Xbox One because...
You don't want to be my friend, and you don't want to play with me online.
Oh,
that's
God.
why.
That's not
Theo will get a
true.
PS4. I know he will one day.
Kingdom Hearts 3, where are you at?
Let's go.
I was playing... Theo's got a PlayStation 2 still. Like, I was like... that is your PlayStation 2. I was over at Theo's house and he was. I was like, oh man,
This is PlayStation 3.
lying.
I showed him. Look, listen, I have 2 games for my PlayStation 3: Killzone and PlayStation All Stars,
Which he bought from me,
which I
used game.
bought from Ryan. And
I
Regal
think for like
Hard.
$20 too. Like,
Hey man,
great deal.
Listen, it was a great deal.
You still probably played a lot, don't you?
I mean, I love that little theme song when it comes on.
I personally though, like longevity wise, I know that I'm gonna go over to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like you said, if when Metal Gear comes out in March, I know I'm gonna have to get the system just because of that.
I think it's going to be cross-platform this time. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be cross-platform.
Oh, really? So it's gonna come out on Xbox One?
I think. I don't want to say it for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be cross-platform.
Because Metal Gear is my...
It's my business, dude. That's my game.
That's like... That was the one that took me... That was... Well, you could say Tomb Raider, but I'm talking about like modern story with big, broad, like, scope. Man, Metal Gear Solid.
I was all about it.
Banging.
So let's move on to top of the day. We are running a little bit out of time. We got about 10 more minutes, but top of the day is stuff you just can't get into that's popular in pop culture.
I'm not an Xbox fan.
Adrian already started talking about Xbox and PlayStation. So let's start with you, Theo. What is something that is popular that you just can't get into?
See, here's the thing about these kind of discussions. First of all, like I feel like this is where us as friends and like our great listeners and stuff will start getting upset with us about. But you know what? I'm gonna go on and say it. I do not like Avatar.
The movie.
The show. Well, I mean the movie as well, but I mean the show. The wildly popular Nickelodeon show.
Oh,
they have the
okay.
Legend of Korra as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
I do not like Avatar. And all of my friends love it. I mean, well, at least the majority. At least like 95% of them, they love it. I mean, they swear by it. They're always saying, man, Avatar's so great. They talk about it in these forum posts, and I don't know what they're talking about. Like, oh, man, you see a new Legend of Korra this, and metal bending that, and blood bending this, and she's the legacy of Aang this. And I just don't even care about it. Like, I watched the first episode, and they were like, oh, you got to watch more episodes. And I was like, I don't have time for that, and stuff like that. It's not me. Avatar is not me. Everyone else loves it. I can see why, but that ain't me.
You know what? I'm going to go as far as say that I liked the movie. I enjoyed it.
Silence.
Why don't you just leave your keys on the table and just leave the shop right now, Ryan?
Now you're talking about the movie associated.
I mean,
with
the
show.
movie was terrible. The movie was terrible for me, like all around. That's right. It gives you a thumbs up. But I mean the show. I mean the show that's won awards that people swear by. I just can't get into it. But
I mean,
Adrian,
I have things that like I can't get into because I don't have the time.
No, I mean stuff that like you just are
I just
feeling.
don't. I'm not.
You're just
feeling.
not feeling.
Man, there's a couple of things like my girl right now. She's into Supernatural.
No.
See, my girl, she watches more television than I do. I get into certain programming, but my girl, she's just she goes through Netflix and goes just through seasons of just popular shows. So right now she's on Supernatural,
Which is my show.
and I've heard so many good things about it, but then I've heard so many things that after a certain story arc is reached that it just doesn't appeal. So I have no interest in even trying to get into it because I don't have the time. And like for instance, I liked Smallville when it first came out, but I wasn't like a fanatic of Smallville. And for me, like Supernatural, Smallville,
Those CW shows.
those CW shows, they all kind of fall into that realm of like, they're not, for me, they're not real enough.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
Do you watch Arrow?
Well, I'm recording Arrow. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched the new season yet. Now I hear Arrow's a little bit more aggressive, and I'm a big fan of my boy Crixus. What's his name?
Manu Bennett.
Manu Bennett. That's my dude. So I'm gonna give it a shot. But yeah, I couldn't get into Supernatural. Didn't get into Smallville. Can't get into. There's a couple of things.
Oh, I hate you so much.
Yeah. What about you, boss?
I have a few.
Oh gosh.
Arrow, Nightwing, anything that has to do with Nightwing, Watchmen, and Wolverine.
Like the character Wolverine or the movie Wolverine?
Wolverine, the character.
What?
Has it always been that way?
What?
Always been that way.
For somebody,
I'll list off. I'll go down the list here.
you
Arrow.
look like Logan, right? You could pass
No,
for Logan.
no. I have
Look at Ryan
I have
right
a
now,
wide
dude.
nose. He has a spiky nose.
Look at Ryan's beard, doggy. Logan.
Okay, dog. Come on. Next thing you know, I'm gonna start calling you Martin Luther King because you're black. Come on,
Look at
dog.
this beard.
No.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Arrow. Just it's Smallville to me. I've seen a couple episodes. I just don't care. Like it's Green Arrow. When do we start giving any kinds of crap about Green Arrow? There's so many good characters that in the DC universe, I feel like no one should be caring about Green Arrow. Can we get someone else, please? Like, why did Green Arrow get a show before Flash? Why did he get a show before even the next person I'm gonna talk about, Nightwing?
And then
why
the
did
Flash
he get a
that's
show?
on there, that's no good. The Flash that's on there, like, who is that guy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know because I don't watch the show because I'm not into it. I can kind of see why people like it, but honestly, it's just, like I like Shield better than Arrow. Honestly, there's just more going on.
That was on tonight.
So next, Nightwing. Okay, I get it. He's Robin, first Robin. Everyone loves him. Da 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 da. But I don't care anymore. You're Dick Grayson. You're a grown man now running around in spandex. Batman has a reason. Batman has motivation. What's your motivation? You know what I mean? Like, come on, Dick. Like, get over it, bro. It's done. You're not a superhero anymore. And like even it really hit me in Forever Evil. Honestly, they kidnapped him. Everyone's like, oh no, oh my god, Nightwing, oh my god. I'm like, really? Nightwing's the one that got kidnapped? He's the one they're gonna do all the big stuff around that people are gonna go try to save Nightwing? I don't care about Nightwing. I never will. Watchmen, Alan Moore. He's a crazy old wizard man. I hate that story. It's not that good. There's an old
You
squid.
like the movie?
I love the movie.
The movie's
The
awesome.
movie's awesome. I love the movie though because the visual effects, the acting, and just the way they did it. Period. Like I loved everything about it. But the story was cool. Like you know what I mean. In the movie, they made it way more modern, way more political. They tied it into a lot of stuff. But the book, there's a giant. What do you even call that thing?
Squid, what's
A
it?
giant squid. Are you kidding me?
In the comic.
You're gonna tell me that's the greatest graphic novel of all time, where it ends with a squid destroying everything? That is so stupid. Like, come on. Just not feeling that. And then Wolverine. I would be such a beast if I was Wolverine. No one would ever know that I exist.
Feel the anger of 1,000 nerds crying out in agony.
Wolverine. If I was Wolverine, no one would know I exist. I'd be like the stealthiest ninja of all time. I'd be a master of disguise. A master of disguise. Like no one would ever know who I really am. No one would ever know my name. There will be no nothing. You know what I mean? And they make his story so dramatic. And he's such a crybaby. I'm like, you cannot die. Why are you crying all the time?
Well, they took away his powers now.
In the movies,
No, I'm talking about in the books.
doesn't matter, bro.
Again?
I'm talking about since the beginning of Wolverine, he's been whacked to me. Like, you have one of the
The
great
cartoon show?
dude. I hated him in the cartoon show.
Ryan!
Hated him.
What Wolverine is actually suffering from is the same thing that, in a way, Peter Parker is suffering from. Is that there's so many stories that they've already done for the character Wolverine. Mm-hmm. So many ways that he can fight a battle. So many ways that he could do it.
But here's the thing with Wolverine though. When they do a story with him, it's always ends up with him just killing somebody. It's either he kills somebody or he shows some type of great restraint by not killing somebody. So when I'm reading a Peter Parker story, like, I don't know what's gonna happen at the end. I really don't. Like, I know he's gonna survive. He's gonna save the day, but I don't know how they're gonna get to that point. They always throw twists in. You know, they always throw little cool things in. But Wolverine stuff is just so straightforward. And then as a team player, he's horrible. Like, always like, Logan, don't go. And he's like, wow, Wolverine. Like, dude, play with the team. Like, you're the regenerator. And then, like, he's always just, like, getting thrown into battle. Like, I remember, and I think it was Siege, and Sentry shows up looking all crazy. He has the void coming out of him, and he's going hard, and you can't beat the dude. He's just too much. And then Wolverine's like, throw me. Like, no, dog, that's not gonna do anything. You think your little antimanium claws are gonna stop the void?
The fastball special
This guy can control molecules.
What's it gonna help him out?
He defeated Molecule Man.
I would like to see a nice long series. I mean, they've done it before, but Wolverine needs to be a bad guy. They need to do a Hollywood.
Yes.
They need to do a Hollywood.
Yes.
Hollywood
Wolverine
Hulk version
would be a great
of
villain.
Wolverine.
Wolverine would
Just
be a great
make him
villain.
a bad guy. Make him because Wolverine is technically designed to be a superhero killer.
Yes.
Basically, in all aspects of it, from Weapon X, everything. Make
From
him a
his
bad
inception,
guy.
they give him claws in his hands. That's what
Make
else
him
can you use that
make him
for?
a bad guy. Make him.
He's a great lid roper.
Well, a lot of the other, just think about it. A lot of the other heroes that have good powers, they can use them for good or evil. Wolverine's powers are based completely on evil. He cannot really help people.
Good people don't stab other people.
Exactly. You know, Xavier can just shut your mind down. You can be a zombie for your whole life,
I mean,
or
he's
he
an
can enhance,
assassin.
he can enhance your mind for you to be able to understand things better. You know, so he can go from one extreme to the other. Wolverine doesn't have that ability.
I mean, like.
So that's why I don't think he's a great character, because there's never that mystery of his character. There's never mystery of his character.
Ryan, answer me this question. Let's be honest. You know you used to put knives in your hands.
No.
Everyone did it.
No.
Everyone. Adrian,
I would get the silly string and try to shoot it like
I've never put knives in my hand. I never put knives in my hand, but like sometimes, like if my girl is getting on my nerves, I'll put my fist next to her head, and I'll be like, snit.
There's a grown man here. I'm talking about when we were children. Adrian
like,
just did that to his family last night.
Like, oh, so you're stabbing me in the face? You're not Wolverine now, huh?
Honestly, that is one of the greatest like phrases in comic books history. I mean, I can't argue that. I'm not gonna say like his
I like
the stuff
Banff
surrounding him
personally,
isn't bad. I just
but, yeah.
Banff is good. Banff is good.
Yeah, Wolverine needs to be a bad guy. I mean,
Because I always think of
Nightcrawler.
well, I just think of badass. You know,
Oh.
that's what I always think when I see that. But I think that's it, guys. We went through everything. I think we hit our top of the day.
I hate all of you now. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed. Oh, and one last thing. As far as the Ant-Man thing, I looked it up. And the Iron Man, you were saying that Iron Man usually leads into the new phase, and that's what they're saying, that Ant-Man could possibly be that new lead into phase 3 instead of Iron Man.
because Ant-Man's coming after Avengers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just kind
So
of.
you think it's gonna be the May time slot that's going up against
Yes.
Batman?
Yes. I think so.
Superman, Batman.
Yes.
Interesting.
That means Ant-Man's gonna get squashed.
What?
He's gonna get squashed.
He is an ant.
Dog, come on, dog. You can't put Ant-Man up against Batman, Superman.
We'll see.
Superman, Batman.
Michael Douglas.
When do the Avengers ever roll solo? That's all I'm saying. You don't know.
Hey, you know your
what I'm
boy
saying.
Kevin Smith said that he saw a picture of Ben Affleck in a bat
the
suit.
suit?
It said he was everything that you could imagine, like we want to see Batman look like. He said,
I don't trust Kevin Smith.
He also, I'm not going to get in Kevin Smith. So we will talk to you guys next time, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Ryan from Ryan's Comics.
Adrian Murphy, Prophet Alpha.
And I'm Just Theo. Talk to you guys later.